up and a smile.
That's great to hear. I've got Landon on the line, so I'll leave you guys to it. You've got 15 minutes.
Landon? Who's Landon? I'm kidding.
How's it going, man?
Very good. Landon, yourself?
Good. I'm just hanging out in a parking lot in Pennsylvania. Just hanging out.
Living the dream, it seems.
Oh, yeah.
I had literally just sent a message just saying that I was standing by, and like a second later you guys popped up. I was kind of hoping to be like, so here's something you don't get asked. What did you have for breakfast this morning? I'm like, oh, hi.
Oh, it's all good. I had 2 days ago, I woke up at 8 a.m, me and our guitar tech, and we noticed that the only thing that was open was this burger shop. Yeah. So at 8 a.m, we went and had these big, fat, juicy burgers, and then we both went back to the bus and passed out for like 4 more hours.
It sounds pretty much exactly like what my night was like last night.
Yeah. As far as food goes on this tour, we've been big pieces of shit. Eating like losers.
That's right as. Well, yeah, I did manage to catch the I managed to catch the what's it called, Lead Singer Syndrome podcast, where you were talking about what it was like. You were a little bit had a little bit of trepidation about going back on tour. What's that been like?
The first week, it was like, damn, this is fucking awesome. Like, I can't believe I ever like didn't like this. And then by like week 2.5, I was like, I would literally empty my entire bank account to go home right now. So it's been everything in between. I think it's just like anytime I do any one thing for too long, I just start getting anxiety about it. And like, I don't know. I'm very active when I'm at home. Like, I work out. I do work, like I work at least like 5 to 6 hours a day. I have things to take care of. So when I'm on tour, it's just like I'm back to being a 12-year-old with other 12-year-olds, and we just sit around and play video games and smoke weed all day. So it's
very good.
Which sounds cool in theory, but it gets pretty boring. But the shows have been good. The tour's been good. So I'm just complaining.
Hey, if you don't do it now, when are you going to do it?
Exactly. When I get home to my wife for the whole first week, that's when.
Well, sit down. I have things to tell you.
Yes, exactly.
Right on. So Swan Song, I was expecting that. It's a massive album, dude.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Glad it's finally out. Felt like it was never going to happen.
Yeah, it took a little while, didn't it? I mean,
yeah,
I think reason.
Yeah. I mean, we pretty much agreed, all of us agreed we weren't going to put it out during COVID because I saw tons of my friends' bands' records come out, and it just seemed like people would talk about it for like a week, and then it was like it just went away. So we wanted to make sure we could do it proper, and honestly, we would have waited longer, if we had to. So, but yeah, it's out finally.
Do you have a vinyl coming with it? I did hear something about that. Is that going to happen eventually? Because I'll definitely help with those sales.
Yeah. So originally it was supposed to come out like with the record, but then we found out like a week or two after we'd already announced the record that vinyl is going to be delayed till I think it's January.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be out sometime in January. I think the middle of January, but yeah, it's frustrating, but it is what it is. Every band is kind of dealing with the same shit. So yeah. It's life.
That is certainly life. At least you have Fat Bergs to make up the difference there a little bit.
Exactly. That takes the pain away.
Anytime we bump up against something like that's the tiniest bit of a drag, I'm just going to be like, Landon, Fat Bergs.
There you go. Perfect.
So obviously, like, I think I have an idea of how you're going to answer this question, but I like the way you answer it anyway. What drove the themes of this record?
Yeah, it's basically just kind of like a departure from negativity. Like, our whole band has been like created and surrounded by negativity, especially the earlier ones. Those are just pure hate and I don't know, just all really bad negative stuff. And you know, even the last record, Dispose, was like negative in its own way. And I don't know, I felt like I still had enough things to kind of complain about that I could make one last record about like really negative things, because I'm really not that negative of a person in real life. So I don't know, I still had some subject matter that I felt like I could touch on and kind of just like say goodbye to that and kind of take new ventures artistically and lyrically, you know, moving forward. So yeah, it's just kind of like, it's also like, I mean, it ties into themes of like, you know, there's a lot of loss on the record. You know, there's songs about friends that I've lost and loves that, you know, that had faded away. So yeah, it's just kind of like a big departure record from a lot of things. So hopefully that answers that accurately enough.
It does, actually. It does, yeah. Well, is there a particular song on the album that, you know, you come back to and you're just like, yeah, this is Fat Bergs right here, just for the ear hole?
Honestly, the first song on the record, I think, has become like one of my favorite songs I think I've ever written. Right. Just because I love songs that where like there's no chorus or verse. It's just kind of like an evolving thing. You know what I mean? Like there's no structure to it, but still makes sense. And I mean, at least to me, I feel like that's the best attempt I've made at it. So when I listen back to that, I'm still like pretty proud of like how it turned out. Plus, like emotionally, I think it hit the way that I intended. And yeah, I don't know. That's just, that song especially just kind of sums up the kind of shit that I am into in music. You know what I mean?
I feel that, so, from memory, it was like basically just one big crescendo. Like it just, as it goes along, it just keeps on building and building and building until pow.
Yeah. Yep, those are my favorite kind of right. I love that.
Goes against the pop formula a bit, which, you know, that's a good thing.
Yeah. I'm like a big fan of artists like Frank Ocean and even like Kanye and stuff. I really appreciate when somebody can do something that's very unorthodox and still make it catchy and interesting, because it is a really big challenge. And that song specifically too on the record was that was probably one of the easiest to write too, which is cool. Everything just kind of like flowed really naturally. So anytime that happens, I'm like really excited, because sometimes I'll just sit for hours and nothing will come of it. You know, like I won't get a single idea, but sometimes I just sit down and everything just like pours out organically, and it's refreshing. And that was one of those cases.
Kind of like you get into one of those fight or flight modes where everything just kind of just pours out while you're creating.
Yeah, absolutely. That happened quite a few times on this record. You know, it wasn't like, I didn't feel like I was doing a job. You know what I mean? It was like actual enjoyment through the whole process. You know, I think this definitely was one of the funnest records to make in general. It was just, I only worked on it when I felt like working on it. And if I felt burnout or I wasn't enjoying something about it, then I'd just stop and take a week or a month off, you know? So that was one of the beauties of COVID. One of the few.
Kind of good in the sense that, as far as I understand, I found this out after listening to the album and, you know, doing my research and stuff like that, because I'm one of those people. Yes, I'm sorry, that you know, found out about the band not too long before the opportunity came up. I'm like, oh, what's this album? Check it out. Oh, whoa, what is this? Whoa, they have a whole discography. Whoa, they've been around for how long? I'm sorry.
That's cool. Hey, better late than never.
Indeed. And but yeah, also finding out after all that, like not too long, I think it was maybe a few days ago, like listening to Lead Singer Syndrome, you pretty much did everything on it. I was just like, what? This production is immaculate. It's amazing.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I originally we tossed around the idea of going to a couple different producers, and we did our last record with a producer for the first time in our career, and it was a really, really good experience. But with this one, I felt like I just had like a very extremely specific vision, and I didn't really want it to be not tainted, but like I wanted it the way that I wanted it, and I knew if I was going to go to someone, then I'd be kind of taking away from like their joy of doing the project, because it's like no producer wants to get into a project where it's like they don't really get any say or any input, you know, and I knew that like I would be very controlling about it. So I selfishly just took everything into my own hands, and yeah, I just obsessed over it for a couple, like almost 2 years, and just, like I said, worked on it when I wanted to. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. It was a blast.
Yeah, what stood out to me in the way that you mixed it was the way that you kind of played the production process as if it was an instrument. Like hearing the soundstage itself, you know, on the right hand side, you'd hear a delay throw, reverb throws, and stuff like that. It was kind of like the audio version of like, you know, the VHS. At times, like a VHS kind of distortion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And hearing, well, I think I just said it right the first time. Hearing the way that you're using production as an instrument, is that something that is that something that has crossed your mind before in your production? Like, is that what you would?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that was the main goal for this record, was vocals and production over everything. You know, like that. Those are the two most important elements, and then you know, guitar and bass and drums are just kind of there to accentuate the production and vocals. So I'm pretty sure almost every song was written without, like, the idea started without guitar, bass, or drums. It was just like a production sample. It's either something I made or something I found. Most of the time it was just like, for instance, like the song Face Me. It starts out with that little boom, 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 boom sound. I don't even remember where I found that sound, but I was like, I'm going to build an entire song off of just like that one note and that vibe. And that's kind of the approach I took with a lot of the other songs too. It was either just like literally just a sound that I liked, and I would kind of just base the entire vibe around that. And then guitars, bass, and drums were kind of like the last element that I cared about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like it totally does. Like again, listening to it, I don't mean to fanboy out, but like I get into a lot of production stuff myself, and to me, like my favorite things to hear in an album isn't just a good production, but a production that is musical in the way that it's constructed, and the way that you have put together Swan Song production-wise was super musical. And you know,
thank you.
You bet, man. Like I'm hearing things like, oh, you can use certain plugins this way, and this isn't a thing that I've thought of before. And like, like there's a lot to listen to in terms of, like, you know, the songs themselves. But it's cool in the sense that album's cool in the sense that you can kind of listen to it with like, how would you say, like just as a casual listener, but then you can also go back to it as a producer and be like, so what do I want to focus on today? This is
No, I appreciate that.
No, you bet.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, yeah, I'm talking like I can't even begin to describe how many hours went into just the production alone, and like how many revisits I had, and how many, you know, putting things in, taking them away. Yeah, I obsess over that kind of stuff. So I definitely appreciate that for sure. I just want, like, when I'm listening to music, I want there to almost always be something interesting or cool or engaging going on. You know what I mean? That also like accentuates the song. Because I mean, obviously there are moments where it just needs to be focused on just vocals and something else. But like, yeah, I really like, I'm a huge fan of like little Easter eggs and stuff like that. So like there's shit just scattered all over. If you open that project file, it's actually insane. It looks like a giant mess, but it all serves a purpose.
That's an invitation. I'll get our friend on the line to send you my email.
I really want to. I think I'm going to sometime in our off time. I want to do kind of like a run through of each song and kind of like dissect what everything is doing in the session. Because I remember I showed a friend right before this tour, actually. He was asking to hear like some backup stuff that I did in some of the samples, and he was like super geeking out over it. So I was like, all right, maybe that could be like a cool YouTube idea or something like that. So I'll make it happen.
Please. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Just to wrap up, you're coming to Australia November next year, if I've got my information right.
Australia is, I think it's next September.
September, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, no worries.
This time last time you were out with Polaris. This time you guys are headlining, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, looking forward to coming back. I am.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think Australia is probably I think it's on par with touring the US, like as far as enjoyment levels. We've always done at least pretty decent over there and stuff. So
yeah, hopefully
this is like the biggest time ever. We'll see what happens. That'd be sick.
I feel that there's a quotable. Big. It's as much fun as touring the US. That's not something I hear very often.
No, it's good. I feel like especially whenever they get a band that doesn't come over that often, they just go like that much harder. So yeah.
Definitely, we do have when bands come out this way, we do appreciate, especially like casual listeners, they love it, but those that are in the know that know how hard logistically it is to get a band out here. We're like, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. It's always worth it. I've never had a bad time over there, so I'm excited.
Right on. Well, looking forward to seeing you in September, which I'm going to
put
in my calendar.
There you go.
Landon, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I
too, man.
I wish it was a much longer. I wish it was just a regular phone call because I just want to talk shop and just get in your head.
Well, yeah.
But
when we're out there, we'll have to set up like a proper interview, like a longer one.
Yeah, that'd be sick for sure, man.
That'd be dope. I'm down.
Whoop. All right, well, I'll let you go on to the other interviews you have planned for today. But look, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
My man.